All right, how's it going, everybody? This is Donny coming to you from AJK Productions down in Brooklyn, New York. I'm sitting here with Incendiary's drummer, Danny Lamelli, SJC artist, Sabian artist, and he's going to do some playthroughs for you. We have a bunch of giveaways, including a couple of Incendiary LPs with their newest album, 1,000 Mile Stare. We have a Sabian cymbal we're going to be giving away, some swag from SJC. It's going to be a fun time. Danny's going to do some sick playthroughs, and so we're going to lead right into that. Danny, take us away. The first song you're going to hear is Front Towards Enemy. Go for it.
All right.
Solid.
Word.
Great stuff, man.
Thank you.
Seriously. So, again, to everyone just tuning in, my name is Donny Ruck. I work upstate at Alto Music in Middletown, New York. We just recently started carrying SJC drums, which you see Danny playing in front of you. Great sounding kit. And like I said, he's playing some new tracks off of Incendiary's new album, 1,000 Mile Stare. It's on iTunes. You can check it out on Spotify and hopefully in your local record store. It very well should be. There's some awesome colors of it on vinyl, and be sure to pick it up. Again, absolutely great follow-up to their second full-length Cost of Living. Again, I can't stress enough. Be sure to check it out. So this is Danny.
What's up, everybody?
He's been playing SJC for about 4 years, and he's got some really killing chops, as you can hear.
Thank you.
So he plays for, obviously, Incendiary, his main band. He also plays for a side band called Carcosa,
Correct.
Which you guys actually put an album out last night.
Yeah, we had a record release for that last night. Tons of fun. We played with Gate Creeper and Noisem.
Very nice.
Long
Very
Island.
nice.
Yeah.
You know, those Gate Creeper dudes are cool, man, so
Yeah.
Noisem.
Also on Closed Casket. They were Closed Casket did a vinyl for that.
Oh, awesome. Very cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
keeping it in the family. All right, again, folks, just to say this again, be sure to share this feed in order to qualify for the giveaways. We got some really cool stuff that we're going to be giving away. We got a couple Incendiary LPs. We have a Sabian cymbal that we're going to be giving away at the end of this, so be sure to tune in and stay here. Danny's going to be playing some killer stuff along the way, and we have a drum head, we have some drumsticks to give away, and some swag from SJC themselves. And a huge shout out to SJC, huge shout out to Sabian, and again to Alto Music for helping putting all of this together. Shout out to Zach at SJC. Everyone's been great in putting this all together. So let's see, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about some tom grooves. We're going to talk about some tom grooves. Well, first off, what is your best way in establishing certain tom grooves with the songs that you play?
I would say mostly to write the groove to fit the part that you're trying to put it in, rather than try to shoehorn a tom riff idea that you have into some place that doesn't fit. Listen to what's going on around it, and that'll help you get the most out of what you're trying to accomplish with the tom groove. Most of the times, it's kind of like a C section in between, like say, like a verse or a chorus and like an ending.
For sure.
So it just listen to what's going on around it and put it that way. What I like to do is I just like to start with just 4 on a floor tom. You know, that's like a good foundation for all tom grooves, and then pretty much everything just launches from there.
Okay. And I'm sure you obviously are going to write the parts based around what your guitarists are writing, or potentially what's being brought to the board on the writing table. And yeah, so I mean, you want to give us maybe a quick demonstration of a 4 on the floor, and maybe go into a couple of grooves you've done in the past, maybe from some of the older records, or maybe something that's on 1,000 Mile Stare. Just maybe something like an instant go-to. Yeah,
well, in Front Towards Enemy, the one I just played, pretty much the whole verse is a tom groove. And we wrote it like that pretty much intentionally, because we try to do stuff that we haven't done before.
Okay.
So for that one, and it changes. There's like an A part and a B part to it. So the first 2 passes, the tom groove on that one goes. And again, that's just like a, like I said, just start.
Just quarter notes on the floor and kind of build it from there.
Exactly, just that solid kind of like thumping, like get everyone moving. It's like, a tom groove is to get people moving more or less. So you want to try to facilitate that however you can.
Right.
And then everything else is just kind of like the icing on the cake.
Right on.
So that, and then the second pass in the same song, I wound up hitting the crashes twice at the end instead of just a single time. So so that would be. Just for a little variation,
right?
Just because I feel with tom grooves in particular, it's really easy to play the same thing over and over again.
Absolutely.
And just get locked into
You're right.
that.
You got to get redundant, and the next thing you know, you've played the same thing for 2 minutes, and nothing's really changed. Yeah, no, that's cool. Throwing in the 2 emphasis hits on the crash, on the crashes, I should say.
Yeah.
So yeah. So anything else that you kind of rely on as a go-to? I know you throw in a lot of double bass work, a lot of 16ths peppered in here and there.
Yeah.
Anything in that realm that you usually go to?
Yeah. In Survival, which kind of works around the same way. The intro is a big tom groove. That actual tom groove I kind of stole from myself.
Stole from yourself?
Yeah, it's the best place to steal from. The last track on Crusade, The Streets Bring Only Blank Stares, had a tom groove intro. That was a little bit more cymbal heavy, so I kind of like reduced it down for that. So for The Streets Bring Only Blank Stares, that tom groove goes like this.
As opposed to Survival, which is kind of a stripped down version of that, but a little bit heavier on the toms.
Right.
Think you can demonstrate that one?
Yeah. So Survival's. So yeah, it's more like that, a lot less cymbals.
Much more punching.
Yeah, it's more driving than
Right.
I guess filled up with all the extra cymbal hits
Right.
and stuff like that.
Right, which is obviously going to make the toms carry a bit more and be pronounced in the song rather than just kind of being background.
Right.
If you would say.
And then the lead into the breakdown part in Survival is another tom groove,
Right.
which is it's a lot less busy. It's more pounding and straight ahead because it's going into that breakdown. So that part in Survival is. So I was using the bass drum fills in there to kind of like break up the punchiness of the
Right.
of the toms in that part.
Absolutely. Very cool. All right. So let's see. So the kit in front of you, you want to talk a little bit about your kit?
Sure,
You're playing
sure.
an SJC kit. It's an all maple shell kit. The finish that you're seeing in front of you folks is a satin white. Danny's got gold hardware, but he's got a gloss red bass drum hoops.
Yeah.
Any particular reason why you did that?
The idea that I had when I first put the kit together, I wanted to do the red gloss as a stripe. And I was working with George over at SJC. He was my contact person there. And so we had worked out a couple of different price options. The stripe in the middle wasn't really fitting in my budget, but we talked it out and got me the kit that I really wanted. I was playing a black Gretsch kit in the Catalina Club sizes. So it was 13, 16, 18, 24. So I wanted to keep those sizes mostly because I didn't want to get new cases.
Right. Hey, no, I don't blame you,
Cases
man.
are expensive.
Cases can be expensive.
Playing a 24-inch kick drum, I think once you play a 24, you can't really go back to playing a 22. I'm also like a little bit taller, so I think, can I sit up high?
Sure.
So do that with the 22, I feel like I kind of look silly sometimes.
Sure. Plus the 24 just has a lot of punch.
It's that bigness, and I always like that big drum sound.
Right.
So
which I mean, talking specs on your kit, you have a 12x12 rack tom, a 16x16 floor tom, and a 24x17 kick drum. Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct.
Again, and I mean, any specific reason why you went with that depth, that size? I mean, you said 24 is definitely going to pack some more punch, but 24-17 is definitely not a size you hear of every day.
Yeah, it's a little bit longer. Normally you see like a 24-14, 24-16, something like that. 24-17, 17 just stuck out for me. It's just get it a little bit bigger, and that was pretty much the idea. I know a 16-16 floor tom is going to sound huge no matter what, and this floor tom, I've gotten so many like from sound guys, like that is the biggest sounding floor tom I've ever heard.
No, dude, it sounds huge.
I've played on an 18, so like having a 16 that sounds like an 18 is
definitely a plus.
Is unreal. And then I did the 12-12. It's more of like power tom sizes, which is kind of like a late 80s, early 90s throwback. Like Faith No More was one of the bands listening to when I was younger a lot, and that guy's got huge toms.
Yes, he does.
And he plays them flat across. So I just wanted that same kind of like big tom sound to where I could have the top head on this tightened a little bit more, but it'll still sound big because like with the 12x10, you kind of have to keep the top head a little bit loose if you want that really dank
and then
sound.
obviously you're going to lose a little bit because you're not going to push as much air with a shallower drum, especially if the head isn't as tight.
Right, and when in our early years playing, even now we rarely get mic'd by a house, by house sound. Only when we're playing like festivals or whatever.
Dude, I don't even remember the last time I got mic'd.
Yeah, so it's like you gotta have those bigger drums where you could have the heads a little bit tighter,
right?
So you could just really fill the room,
right?
And putting this kit together was great. Going to pick it up is a really interesting story too, because they were going to ship it to me, and I wanted to have a custom front head done. So I asked them how much it was to have the custom head done, and they told me, and it was like the same price to ship it. I was like, well, you guys are in Massachusetts. It's like a 2-hour ride from where I live on Long Island.
Why not just take the trip?
Can I just come pick it up and we'll do the custom head even swap? And they were like, sure, we'll show you around.
Awesome.
And I went up there and I got to meet the guys who made my kit, like the guys who cut the edges, the guys who put the paint on.
Oh, that's awesome.
And a couple of guys knew the band, so they're like, oh, we're so glad you came up here. It was like really, really great experience. They took a picture with me, and they have this big wall in the lobby there. So
I think I've seen that photo.
Yeah,
that's
I had
awesome.
A lot longer hair and a lot less beard.
A lot less beard.
Yeah, but it was great. I packed it up and drove home, and here we are today.
And we're a happy man.
Yeah, much happier for it. The first tour I used this on was a Weekend with Acacia String.
Really?
Which was great.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, SJC seems to be very accommodating. Like I said, working up at Alto Music, we just took on SJC as a line within, I don't know, the past month and a half, and they've been great. You know, they've been incredibly fast with getting the kits to us, and we actually just got a kit in the shop that looks very similar to your kit, only the opposite of a finish. Instead of satin white, it's a satin black. So satin with gold hardware. Kit sounds amazing, and one of the few kits that I've actually been able to pull out of a box, not tune, just set up, and it was ready to go.
And ready to go. Yeah, that's pretty much how it was. And the great thing too is while you're designing your kit, you get to pick what heads go on it when you pick it up.
Yeah, you can tell.
Or you get delivered. You just tell them which ones you want if you have a preference. I prefer Remo heads myself.
Right.
I've been playing them since I've been playing drums. So I just when I saw them on the list, I was just like, oh. Remo pinstripes.
Yeah,
right
gotta
away.
go with them.
Gotta go with those.
Especially if they're your instant go-tos.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you said, you have pinstripe heads on your toms. What do you plan on the kick?
Power Stroke 3.
Power Stroke 3
Which I think
clear?
is like clear. Yeah.
Cool,
Which
man.
I believe is like the industry standard for heavy kick drums.
Definitely one of the standards, man. There's so many of them. They give a lot of good tone, a lot of good punch. But if you wanted to say, if you with this bass drum wanted to tune it up a little higher and play some jazz randomly, you could do that.
Yeah.
Power Stroke 3 is going to accommodate that. You can leave it low, and it's going to give you that low impact punch that you're going to want for heavy metal or hardcore, basically any sort of heavy music.
Any type of aggressive music that you're going to be playing.
So what are you playing on the snare?
Snare's a P77.
Power Stroke 77.
Yeah,
okay.
I saw a video where the drummer from Animals of Leaders, Matt, I can't pronounce his last name for the life of me.
Garska?
Garska, there we go.
Yep.
And it was him just demoing it, and I was like, that sounds amazing. I got to try it out for myself.
Very balanced head.
Yeah.
Like very, very balanced tone-wise, but if you tune it anywhere to a medium-high tension, it's going to give you a lot of crack, and it's going to respond really well.
You get such a rich sound out of it. Because I was using the Emperor X just because it was a lot thicker, durability, and you could just crank it up super high, and that's pretty much the best way, the area that it lives the best. But with these P77s, you could even have them tuned, like you said, medium to high, and still get an amazing sound out of them.
Absolutely. Huge dynamic range out of a head like that. Speaking of Remo drum heads, we actually are giving away a Remo drum head. I have a Remo coated ambassador in a 14-inch, and we actually also be pairing with that. We're going to be giving away a pair of Vader 5B, wood tip drumsticks.
Beautiful.
Which you are a Vader guy as well, aren't you?
I've been playing Vader for a while now, using the Fatback 3As.
Fatback 3As.
Yeah,
very nice.
They're a little bit longer. Like I like with my setup, I kind of have everything like I'm back a little bit. I'm not like really on top. I know a lot of people like to play with stuff close. So because I reach out, I wind up for like a 5B or a 5A choking up on the stick to almost where the butt end is in the center of my palm.
Right.
These I could hold more like a regular stick and not have to choke up on it so much. But that little bit of extra length, you don't realize
it makes all the difference.
It goes a long way.
Absolutely.
And it's not like a baseball bat, like a 2A or anything like that. It's got a good width to it, so it feels super comfortable.
Right, but I'm sure you're not snapping these potentially as quick as maybe a lighter stick like a 5A or something like that.
Oh, no, not, or like a 7. I couldn't, I know a bunch of people play like 7As. I couldn't even imagine.
Gosh. me personally, hey, preference is preference.
Oh, for sure.
If you play a 7A, there's nothing wrong with that. I play a 2B, so I play monster sticks, and I'm insane and I break them. So, maybe I should not hit as hard, or I don't know, maybe I should just buy stock in some drumstick companies. I don't know.
Start making them yourself.
I don't know about that. I got to get a whole lathe. That's a whole different process.
Story.
But all right, so I think we basically talked. We have not talked about your cymbals. You're playing Sabian cymbals, correct?
Yeah, I play Sabians.
Maybe if you want to go across your cymbal setup, and we can kind of explore what you got going on for now. Let's start with you got an XS20 ride.
Yeah, I got an XS20 medium ride. I picked this up a couple of years ago before we played Black and Blue Bowl in Brooklyn with Hatebreed. It's a great ride cymbal because basically my ride cymbal, I'm not using it just for the ride definition.
Right,
I crash on a lot.
Right, you're doing a bit of crashing on it as well.
Yeah, so I'm kind of using it as like a third crash. So I would need a ride cymbal that kind of fits that description, but also you can ride on it when you need it because we do have a lot of ride cymbal, defined parts.
And it's a brilliant finish, so it's going to give you a lot of stick definition.
Exactly.
But the bell has a lot of cut, and like you said, if you can crash on it, you're going to be able to ride on it. Which,
And having that bell is just because I use bells as accents a lot, and
Sure.
it's like a really good way just to kind of like, it's like a good exclamation point on a part, you know, or you just throw it in there randomly and it's like, oh, there's a bell there,
yeah,
you know, so
yeah,
it's like
oh,
it's a
kind
good,
of like an alarm sound, like, oh, you gotta pick your head up and say, oh, what was that?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So that's that's why I went with this one. For the crashes, I'm using SR2s,
Okay.
which are pretty much refurbished floor models and demo models,
Right.
that Sabian has.
The SR actually stands for Sabian Relathe, which these are cymbals that are out at like demo shows like NAMM or something like that, maybe played on for a couple of days. They're sent back to Sabian. They go through a relathing process, and Sabian's able to sell them for like half the price what they normally do.
Exactly.
Which they don't really, it doesn't cut any sort of sound quality in the
Not at all.
relathing. If anything, it maybe revamps it and gives it a whole new character.
I think it creates a different sound profile for the cymbals from what they originally were, just because the lathing's different. So you almost get more of like a trashier crash to
Absolutely.
it, rather than what it was before. And that's kind of like the sound that I was going for with these.
Mm-hmm.
For my China, I have an AA Fast Chinese, which I think
Okay.
is a discontinued cymbal from Sabian.
You actually have a bunch of discontinued cymbals on your setup, but that makes it even better because now it's going to make it harder to replicate your sound.
Exactly. You know, like I'm a guy that once I find a thing that I like, I'm gonna keep getting that same thing over and over and over again.
Of course.
So what's usually my right side crash for this setup is the AA Explosion 20-inch.
Yep.
Cracked that one, but then I saw this SR2 and I was just like, I gotta pick that up.
Absolutely.
For the price. But yeah, the Fast Chinese over here, it's a really aggressive China cymbal, which for what we're playing,
that's what you need.
Definitely need it.
Absolutely.
But it has a good sustain to it because there are a lot of parts that I play that are really China heavy, where I just write like there's just parts where I'm just riding on that China, and you need it to fill. You're not just like a short in and out. You need it to kind of like fill that spot.
Absolutely.
So I got that over here, and then my hi-hats. It's a combination of XS20 medium hat on the top, and I have a AAX stage hi-hat on the bottom.
Very nice. Wait, say that again. An XS20 on the top.
XS20 medium.
And an AAX stage on the bottom.
And an AAX stage on the bottom.
Very interesting.
The AAX stage hats, I think, are very dark sounding and just really big sounding. So that, again, like my whole concept for my whole sound is just big and out there, and just because, like I said, we don't get mic'd a lot, so I have to fill the space. So for a while, I was doing the AAX stage bottom, and then I had an HHX Evolution bottom hi-hat as the top.
Interesting.
And that was super dark when they were closed. It was super crisp, but it was just a little too heavy.
Almost like a little too brash.
Right.
Almost,
it was a little too much, and I was doing that for a couple of years, and then I picked up these XS hats, and I like the bottom AAX hat so much, so I just threw the XS20 on the top.
Why not, man?
And it's a great blend.
It's got a lot of clarity, so it's gonna cut through almost whatever mix you're doing, whether you're playing Incendiary, Carcosa, whatever.
For sure.
But it's very bright. At the same time, it's got a good level of brightness, which is what you need, especially for hi-hats. That if you want hi-hats that cut through a mix, heavy or not, I mean, you want something a bit brighter.
And I'm playing open hi-hats, I'm going to say like 85-90% of the time.
Sure.
So I just needed something that's going to sound like good open all the time like that.
Right on. But still when closed, have a good chick sound, have a good click. Absolutely. Alrighty, so yeah. What sizes are your crashes? I don't know if I asked you those.
I got I don't even remember. I got a 19 over here on my left and a 20. I like using the bigger cymbals.
Oh yeah, bigger crashes, man.
Again, I think it's just because of if I had a kit this, like with these tom sizes and like a 14 and a 16-inch crash, it wouldn't look right.
You wouldn't get almost any volume.
Yeah,
you'd get overtaken by the toms and by the kick drum, or you'd break a lot of cymbals really quickly.
That too.
Which I mean, nothing wrong with that. Something wrong with that, It always stinks to break a cymbal or 5. I've done it. I'm sure you've done it.
My graveyard is pretty big, and like growing up, I broke a lot of cymbals. But I would say probably in the last couple of years, I kind of like changed the way I play.
Same here, man. I went through a younger phase too, where I broke so many cymbals, and I'm sure there are other drummers out there that are still going through the same thing of cracking cymbals. I found the same solution that you did. I just went bigger in my own cymbal selection. I have a 19 and 20-inch crash as well, and I found that I don't have to hit them as hard to get the same result and get the same level of volume that I might be looking for from a smaller cymbal that might sound as good, but realistically, it's going to crack within X amount of time,
Yeah.
depending on how much you're playing and how hard you're hitting it to get the result that you want.
Right. So, and like also like I changed my, I guess, idea about hitting it because when I was younger, I was just like a big hitter. Just hit as hard as you can,
Sure.
make all the noise that you can. But then I was buying new cymbals like every couple of months.
Yeah,
and that
absolutely.
gets really expensive. So, so it's just like, there's only like volume X that a cymbal could get up to, no matter, and then if you hit harder than that, it's still going to be that
Absolutely.
loud. But you're hitting it
where
harder.
the breakage area becomes.
Right.
It's like, this cymbal can only go up to here. I'm trying to get it to go to here.
It doesn't happen.
That's where the breakage occurs.
happens. Yeah, so it's just like, once I realized, like, okay, I could, as long as I just keep hitting it at this level, it's going to have the same volume, and I'm not going to eat up my wallet by
For sure.
putting out cymbals.
So
every
we
couple
actually
months.
just got, I just got this in. We have our first winner.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Gentleman named Chris Cody. Chris, thanks for tuning in. Chris Cody, you just won the free Remo Coated Ambassador and a pair of Vader 5B drumsticks. Congratulations, man. Thanks for tuning in. Again, folks, be sure to share this for a chance to win some other great prizes, including a new copy of Incendiary's latest record, 1,000 Mile Stare, on, I believe it's a really, really cool color.
Yeah, I think it's the record release color, which is the translucent blue with the black. So
I mean, quite frankly, I'm jealous. I kind of wish I could win that prize. I can't, unfortunately, because I'm here.
Right.
But be sure to check that record out, whether you're trying to win it or not. The Incendiary record's great. You hit hard. These guys really brought it, and it's a quality record, and it's actually doing incredibly well in the Billboard charts.
Yeah, that's the craziest part of all. Like, I just like playing music.
Right.
And then, you find out that I think we got up to like 162 on the top 200. And that's like real music. I mean, not that this isn't real music, but that's like stuff that's on the radio.
Right.
And it's just, it's like completely something
Absolutely.
else.
It's almost like to find yourself competing with that and actually landing a spot there. It means something.
Right.
You know what I mean? It just means that your hard work and all the time you put into either tuning your drums or refining your sound, Incendiary, the long hours writing, it becomes worth it. You know what I mean? It's a cool thing to see it happen.
It's also like seeing like the scene that you grew up in and became a part of, and you try to further it, and you see the younger bands coming up. It kind of like, it's just like we're all working towards the same thing,
Sure.
And it's like it's like seeing your scene in the real world. Like, people don't really know about hardcore or aggressive music too much because it's not as radio friendly, but to see it like permeate to that level, it's like it's a really beautiful thing.
It's amazing, man. And there are a lot of killer bands coming out of Long Island right now. You have Regulate, you have Hangman, which, I mean, and there's dozens. There's it seems like there's dozens more. You have Sanction, Detriment. You have some really killer bands out of Long Island right now. And I don't mean to put anyone on a pedestal above anybody else, but it just seems that you guys are kind of leading the way. And which is really cool because I first saw you guys in a small club in Newburgh, New York. I mean, Pub 151. I'm pretty sure I saw you guys there first, and then I maybe played with you guys at another show when I was with Living Laser. So it's just cool to see the whole thing come full circle. And you guys are on your third LP, and I mean, I know it's probably way early to think about it, but you think a fourth would potentially be in the works?
Oh, I don't know. We sat on Cost of Living for like 3.5, almost 4 years. So we'll see. We'll see in 4 years what.
Okay,
we'll see in 4 years what happens.
Who knows? I might have a big old man beard by then. You never know.
Yeah.
But all right. So I think we're gonna go through another playthrough.
Oh, cool.
So I think up next is, if I believe I'm correct, which who knows if I am, is anybody ever, but. So the next song that I think Danny's going to be playing through is The Product Is You, which is another single off 1,000 Mile Stare. Be sure to check it out anywhere you can get it, iTunes, Spotify, your local record store, hopefully. Again, check it out. This is The Product Is You. Danny, take it away.
All right.
was The Product Is You off 1,000 Mile Stare, Incendiary's latest record. Danny, crushing stuff, man. Again, very cool. I really like that gallop fill that you started with. The 16ths on the bass drum with the gallop on the toms. Love it.
And that is another thing where we were talking about tom grooves before.
Absolutely.
Following the guitar. If you listen to the guitar riff,
you kind of right. It just kind of mimics it, so it just fills the space and makes it crushing. Makes it absolutely crushing. So let's see. You guys put out 1,000 Mile Stare. It's not even a month. Tomorrow will be a month. Mm-hmm. So you know, obviously the record's doing great. You guys had the record release show at the Brooklyn Bazaar.
Yes.
It's sold out. I think 400 or 500 person show.
Yeah.
I unfortunately wasn't able to attend, but I had a few friends that said it was absolutely great, and you guys killed it. Which is, you know, as always, if you guys have never seen Incendiary and you like hardcore, be sure to check out Incendiary. They're fantastic. They're a great hardcore band. Great guys. Talk to them. They're pretty up on what's going on in the current hardcore scene and, you know, what's going on in the world. So let's see. What else?
Yeah, the record release was fun. Real great time. It was like everyone in our family being there. Not our actual relatives, but like our community, hardcore community family. We played with Trail of Lies from upstate New York, King 9, and Crime and Stereo.
Right on.
And King 9 and Crime and Stereo, we've been friends with them like forever.
Yeah, King 9's been around for a while, man.
Yeah, it was you know, it's always great playing with them. Same thing with Crime and Stereo. You know,
sure.
we've been playing with them since like 2005.
It feels like
well, not
forever.
2005,
Yeah.
But like, you know, way long ago.
A long time, at least probably a decade.
Yeah, like 2008, 2009, I think was probably one of our first shows with them on Long Island. And you know, it's always it's like that kind of like camaraderie that you feel. It was just one of those like everything was where it was supposed to be that night, and it was good.
Absolutely. Yeah, sounded like it was a great show, man. I hope to see some footage from it. I know you posted some drum cams from the show, correct?
Yeah, I have. And Hate 5-6 and Okay About Myself, they collaborated their footage.
Oh, very cool.
So there's two different versions of theirs out. And we have a Long Island record release / 10-year anniversary show coming up at the end of August.
What's the date on that?
That is August 12th. It's going to be at Revolution on Long Island, which is in Amityville.
Sure.
It's going to be a great show.
Yeah, that's a cool spot too. Yeah. I've been there a few times. That's a good spot. Very cool. All right, so I think we're going to get into some Q&A.
Sure.
I think we have some people giving in some questions on the live stream.
Would love to. That's why we're here.
So the first question we got is, what pedals are you using?
Oh, okay. I am using the Mapex Falcon double bass pedal.
Okay.
For a while, I was having issues with double kick pedals where I was having a problem with them either gripping onto the bass drum hoop or just I couldn't get the right one, or it was just breaking a lot. I had DW 9000s for a while, and the heel plate would break on me like every year. Wow. You know, once a year I'd have to replace it. They were good about sending stuff back out, but I just didn't want to jump through hoops to fix it myself.
Keep going through the same issue. Sure.
Exactly. And I've tried. Let's see. I had Iron Cobras when I first started. I had a Yamaha double pedal like in the early 2000s. I had a DW 5000 series that I broke the footboard on at a show.
Like snap the footboard?
Snap the footboard.
Wow.
Because the
snapping
the clamp tightener was like right where the pedal was, and it kept pressing up against it.
Of course. So,
and it just punched right through in the middle of a show. But these I like. It's like pretty much everything that I needed from a double bass pedal.
For sure.
So
for sure. Would you say would you have some like loose spring tension, tighter spring tension?
I play super loose. I know a lot of guys play like super tight where you just like tap the pedal and that thing's going to be cranking for, you know, a couple minutes there. But I just play super loose with the beaters. I would say not like touching my foot and not touching the head, but like a good like medium like 45-degree angle. I sit the left side beater back a little bit from the main pedal a little bit, just because I find myself, it's just you could get a lot quicker action if the beater's a little bit closer to you with on your main side.
For sure. Absolutely. All right, so we have another question from John McLaughlin. I thought I mentioned this before, but he was curious, what kind of wood is the kit?
Oh, they're maple shells.
6-ply, I imagine, Keller maple shells. Yep. Very nice.
6-ply all around. I think the kick might be 8. It's a little bit thicker.
Yeah, 8, that sounds pretty correct.
Pretty standard,
8-ply maple shells, 6-plies on the toms.
Yep.
Very cool. Very
And
cool.
just regular triple flange hoops, not die-cast hoops on the toms.
Okay, yeah, very important, because who knows, you put die-cast hoops on, could totally change the sound of your toms.
For sure.
For sure. I mean, that's just goes to show how gear can react with what drums, whether these are maple shells, or you could put the same heads on a birch kit and it's not going to sound anywhere near the same.
Completely different.
Completely different.
Years ago, I had a Yamaha Beach Custom when those first came out. And like you say, same heads. Those shells were a lot brighter. But I like the density of this wood.
Very cool. Better. Yeah, and maple has a good warmth, has a good amount of projection, but great tone.
Yeah, it's pretty much like a drum tofu. You know, it'll take on the sound of whatever you put around it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, depending on what kind of heads you put on, what kind of rims you put on, how you tune everything, you could get like a totally focused sound or like a really warm sound out of it.
Absolutely. So actually, we have our second winner.
Oh, cool.
I just got in Mr. John McLaughlin, who sent in the question about what shells are.
John.
So John McLaughlin, thank you very much for tuning in. You have won the SJC swag package, which we got a T-shirt, we got some earbuds.
I saw those earbuds. They look fantastic.
Yeah, they're great. They come in like a nice little SJC, carry case, some stickers.
With a nice little chain so you could attach it to your keys or
keys,
your
wallet,
stick bag, whatever you want to attach it to.
Stick bag, that's a good one.
Yeah.
All right. So we have another, some more questions for you.
Keep them coming.
Again, folks, to reiterate this, make sure that you share this stream. We're going to be giving away a 16-inch AA Explosion Crash from Sabian at the end of this. So be sure to tune in, share it, tell your friends so that they can share it, and we'll get to that at the end of the segment. But we have some more questions for you, actually. Yeah. So another question is from Justin Bada. Is this the only setup that you use? Because you said you have another band, Carcosa.
Right.
Is this the same setup that you use for that band, or you do something a little different?
Well, I use a different setup for Carcosa. First up, shout out to Justin. What's up? He lived across the street from me for like most of my life.
Oh, wow.
It's the same guy. So
shout out to Justin.
Shout out to Justin. Yeah, for Carcosa, I don't use a rack tom. And
no rack tom?
No rack tom, just floor tom and a snare drum.
Wow.
And yeah, I use one of those like China splash cymbal stacks.
Oh, okay. For that really choppy,
just like real accent
sound
kind of thing. Yeah. And the reason why I did that with Carcosa was when I first joined that band, I was like, I want to play heavy but not use the same amount of stuff, and I wonder if I could play heavy with less stuff. So I took off the rack tom and I was only using single kick. So all the blasts and everything that I do, it's all single kick stuff. And then I stupidly I used double pedal at practice one time, and the next time they were like, "Could you just please use double bass for the rest of the time?" So
now is that locked in?
Now I'm locked in double bass and Carcosa, but not bringing back the rack tom. But yeah, and it's different because it makes you think about how to play a little bit differently.
Sure.
And even with like tom stuff, you don't have that other tom to work around with, so you're just over here. So all of your fills are just left to right.
Right, and that causes you to write a different way.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
I used to do that when I was a kid. I would like set my drums up and say your configuration, and then totally switch the cymbals around.
Yep.
Put the China like on my left, put the snare where the floor tom was, and just see how to work around it and how that can really change up what you're doing.
For sure.
Depending on the style of music, for sure.
That's what I would say to anyone who's just getting into the drums now, or maybe you've only been playing for a few years, or you've been playing for 20 years,
Absolutely.
Just because you see someone else set their kit up like that doesn't mean that's the way you should. Experiment, move stuff around.
Definitely.
You're not going to find out what's comfortable for you until you do it, so just try different stuff. Always be trying, always be experimenting to find your sound.
Absolutely.
Recently I started tilting my snare drum a little bit, and I find I get a lot better hit. I'm not like rimming out as much, I'm not smacking my hand on the rim.
Sure.
I'm getting nice hit, nice rolls, and I've been playing for how long now, probably almost 20 years. So it just goes to show you, like, a little change that you do or a little experimentation with like a size or a setting could totally change the way you look at the instrument.
Absolutely. And it's all going to go back into creating your own style.
Exactly.
Because those are the things that's going to help any aspiring drummer, any musician really, is just to change it up every now and again. Go away from the norm. Play a setup that you don't normally do. If you're used to playing with a double pedal, take it apart. Put your double pedal on the other side of the room for like a week and see what it's like to play with a single, like you said.
There was a drum exercise. And I've seen it a bunch of times before, but I saw it really early on when I was learning how to play. Just play a groove for 4 bars and then solo for 4 bars and then take something away.
Absolutely.
And then do that same thing and then take something away and keep reducing your kit down so you're just like either hi-hat and snare or kick and snare and then just down to one thing and then add the pieces back over time.
Absolutely.
So then play 4 bars, add something else. Play 4 bars, add something else. And it really lets you see the kit differently, and you know, like almost like, what can I use this for?
Absolutely.
What can I use this for? Instead of like just seeing it as big picture all the time, to kind of like cut it down on a microcosmic level.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, I don't know about you, but I came up in a generation where I saw drummers doing huge, massive drum setups, like, you know, 15-piece kits, 2 bass drums, 9 rack toms, 3 floor toms, and that was cool. But I thought that, well, I want to be able to do what they're doing with 10 drums and do it with 4. Or do it with 3.
Yeah.
And keep reducing that number to kind of adding, which would add to my own playability.
Right.
You know what
so
I mean?
if it, like, I mean, those bands where they have like all those toms, you know, like the big power metal bands or whatever, it makes sense for them to have that, or even prog stuff, because at that point the drums are almost like another melodic instrument, you know? Like, I don't think you could go, you know, to tell Mike Portnoy to play with less toms in a Dream Theater song than you would, you know? I mean, not that he's in the band anymore, but you get the idea.
And you know what, even if you did, he'd probably refuse.
He'd probably refuse.
He would probably, which, I mean, hey, it's Mangini.
But that's the way it works. But yeah, the same kind of thought process. Like, can I get that with just, because I used to play with 3 rack toms. I had a whole rack system, all these cymbals and splashes and stuff. Sure. It was just too much to carry around.
Absolutely.
You know, for what I was playing, I was just like, do I really need this?
Right.
And then you kind of like, and also with that reductive practice style, it's like, you know, do I really need this? How is it working for me? How is it not working for me?
Absolutely. Yeah. Again, it just goes. Keep coming back to finding your own style. You know, you might have your toms at this height and it works for you. You raise them up 4 inches and it's going to completely throw you off.
Right.
So it's just kind of funny in a way to see how each different drummer's setup kind of reflects the way that they play. You know what I mean? I mean, I can hop behind your kit now, and more than likely I'm going to want to adjust something or raise something up or lower something, and it would be the same as if you hop behind my kit or I hop behind the next person's kit. It just goes back into your own style and your own flair. We got another question, actually, from, I hope I'm saying this last name, Mike, right? Mike Tamburino wants to know what your favorite cymbal is.
All right. Sup, Tambo. My favorite cymbal is the Sabian AA Explosion 20-inch. That is, I think, hands down the best crash cymbal that's ever existed.
I got one myself.
Yeah, and like I said, the only reason why I didn't have one is because I saw these two as a pair, and I just wanted something like a little bit more matching sound.
Absolutely.
But I personally believe that is the best sounding crash cymbal. I've had one in my setup, aside from this, for the past like 10, 15 years. You know.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool, man. Okay, so actually you got another one.
Yeah.
Daniel Hughes wants to know, when you were first starting out, any sort of specific inspiration?
Yeah, okay. So probably my biggest inspiration, because I'm a little bit older, I'm 35.
Okay.
So my biggest inspirations were like hair metal bands from like the late 80s.
Oh, you gotta give me some.
So like
name
Def Leppard, Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, all that stuff. Like, I just remember being little, seeing Def Leppard play on MTV when they showed videos all the time in the afternoon. And Def Leppard drummer only had one arm. And I was just like, he's only got one arm. And I was just like, my mind was blown that this guy had one arm and he was just kicking at the drums.
Right.
And then
Tommy, like your little kid self can't even comprehend.
And then seeing Tommy Lee, you know, drum set go over the crowd, start spinning like a roller coaster. Like, it was just like this. To me, that at that point in my life, drums became an event rather than just like just like another part of the band. It's just like, you know, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. And actually read the Motley Crue book, and in one of Tommy Lee's chapters, this is the thing that stuck me from reading. He was just like, they stick you in the back behind everyone else. You can't, the crowd isn't close to you.
Sure.
You're behind all this metal and wood. You got to do something to make them know that you're there, And
absolutely.
So like, I kind of like integrated that into my philosophy. It's just like, like a lot of people just could just like sit there and play, and that's cool. Do you like whatever is comfortable for you, do it. But like, I like to kind of just be like, hey, I'm here too. Check.
Like,
check
I'm
it
a
out.
part of this. I'm a part of the music rather than just being behind it.
Right.
And that's an important philosophy as a drummer, because sometimes we do, like you said, we get buried behind the mix. Sometimes we're so far back on stage, you don't even know we're there.
And
you can hear us.
The only reason people know you're there is when you mess up. You know, like if you do if you do your job right, no one will know you're there.
And then as soon as you mess up, everyone's a critic.
Everyone just heads turn.
Well,
that sharp head turn, man.
The record stops and everyone just kind of picks their heads up and says, "Wait, what just happened?"
That sharp head turn from your guitar player when you like mess up or you go to the wrong part, it's like a heartbreak. It's just like, oh boy, okay.
Yep. I'm gonna try to play this off now.
Yeah.
That never happened.
Just play it around one more time. Don't worry. Just keep going.
Alrighty. So look, we're gonna do some shout outs at the moment.
Yeah.
I want to say a huge shout out to SJC Custom Drum Company. They're absolutely fantastic. A specific shout out to Zach for helping make all of this happen. Shout out to Sabian Cymbals for not only being a great cymbal company with making incredibly great products, but for providing a beautiful 16-inch crash that we're going to give away at the end of this segment.
Yep.
And shout out to Alto Music, where I currently work in upstate New York, in Middletown, New York, to be specific. We have a couple other branches. We have a showroom down here in Brooklyn, New York. We have a location in Wappingers Falls and one other store in Airmont, New York. All of which carry, a huge selection of gear. I work in what I call the mothership. I work in the bigger store in Middletown. And again, we just took on SJC, and they've been great to work with. So shout out to all those companies involved. Shout out to the crew, which unfortunately none of you in internet land can see, but there's a bunch of great people here making this happen, and everyone's been great. This has been a really fun experience. And
total pleasure. Shout out to Closed Casket Activities for taking the chance on us and sticking behind us for all these years. Justin is an absolute great guy to work with. Super supportive, totally got our back every step of the way, because we're not like a regular touring band. We don't go out for 6-7 months at a time. You know? I always call it the hardcore Army Reserve. It's 2 weekends a month, 1 week a year. So as our vacation time dictates, that's how we do stuff.
Absolutely.
He was just like, I like you guys. So
absolutely.
Big thanks.
But that just goes to show that, you don't have to be a full-time touring band to put out great quality music. If your spirit's there, and if you're involved heavily in the writing process, which all of you guys are, it just makes it a more wholesome record to get out there and for people to hear and check out. And people can hear what your intentions are when you put out a record like you guys just did. You guys wanted to make something that was a great follow-up to Cost of Living, which you did, and the record packs. It packs a huge punch.
Thank you.
And Closed Casket's out of New York, correct?
Yeah, capital area, Troy, New York.
Right on.
Yeah, man.
Right on. All right, so let's see. We're gonna get into one of the last playthroughs, but one last shout out I have. Got to give a shout out to Bridgeside Productions.
Oh yeah.
Where we are down here in Brooklyn, New York.
Yep.
Fantastic production company. Honestly, I came down here and I wasn't exactly sure what to expect, and my mind is kind of blown.
Yeah.
The level of professionalism from these guys has been fantastic, and
it's a fantastic space to play in and do this kind of thing. It's like beyond. I feel like I'm like at a TV studio, like in Hollywood, California.
Seriously, absolutely. All right, so we're gonna get into one of our last playthroughs. This is track number 6 off of 1,000 Mile Stare. The song that you guys are about to hear is called No Purity. Danny, take it away. Awesome.
All right.
Awesome. Folks, that was No Purity off of Incendiary's latest record, 1,000 Mile Stare. Again, if you haven't checked it out, be sure to do so. You can check it out. It's on iTunes, Spotify. You can pick it up hopefully at your local record store. You can get it from Closed Casket Activities website, and probably a bunch of other stores. Rev HQ, I'm sure, has a few copies of it.
Rev's got it.
Or you can track down Incendiary and get it from them at a show. Folks, thank you very much for joining us. This has been a great day. Danny's, an incredible player, and has, been absolutely great to, interview, to work with.
Thank you, man.
Shout out to SJC again. Huge shout out to Zach at SJC for making all of this happen. Thank you very much to Alto Music for sending me down with some cool gear to give away. Which, speaking of that, we have our last two giveaway winners.
Last giveaways.
All right, so winner of the EPs, Bump It a Bum, it's Mr. Ben Burrell.
Woo!
Ben Burrell, congratulations. You
Ben,
win.
enjoy.
Yep, you're going to get a killing copy of 1,000 Mile Stare.
Cost of Living, and Crusade.
And Crusade, which is actually not pictured here, but you will be getting a copy of all 3 Incendiary APs.
Yeah.
All right, and for the big winner, can I get another? And the AAX symbol goes to Daniel Hughes.
Woo!
Woohoo! All right.
Yeah.
Well, again, everybody who's tuned in, thank you so very much.
Thank you.
This has been a great day. Again, check out Incendiary, check out SJC, check out Alto Music, check out Sabian Cymbals. Huge shout out to Bridgeside Productions. You can check them out at Bridgeside Productions. I'm pretty sure it's gobridgeside.com. Huge shout out to AJK, another gentleman involved in making this happen. His website is ajk.productions.com. Everyone here is doing fantastic work on the most professional level that you can possibly imagine. If you're in Brooklyn, or if you're not in Brooklyn and you want to seek these guys out to do some incredible productions, whether playthroughs or you want to make a music video, these guys can accommodate anything that you're going to do. So be sure to check out Bridgeside Productions and AJK. My name is Donny Ruck. This is Danny Lamelli, plays for Incendiary. Thanks very much for joining us. Have a great day.